Howdy, and welcome to the Greeble-Gunk podcast. Right now, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite games of, I guess, all time. Uh, I haven't really put these in any order because for a lot of them, it's kind of hard for me to decide. So I'm just going to go down the list that I wrote. The first game is Fallout 4, which it's not the best Fallout game, but it is one of my favorite games that I've played in I guess ever. It's in my top 10. The mods for it are great. It was the first Fallout game I played and it got me into that series, which is awesome because I really like the other games too, and that was a bridge for me to get into those. And I've played so much of it, modded and unmodded, and I always find more fun things to do in it, and I just really love the game. The next one is Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which is it's a team shooter game, 5 versus 5, and it's like a tactical shooter. I think it's pretty fun whether to just mess around on or to not really. It's not as fun to play seriously, but I guess you can. But I mean, I like it so much because it kind of holds a special place in my heart because I met a bunch of online friends there. One of which I found out lived down the street from me, like a year later. And it just gave me a bunch of friends that lasted for years, and I had a lot of fun times playing that game with them. So yeah, the next one is Blade and Sorcery, which is a VR game that it's just fun. It has good mods. My favorite mod would probably be this one with the giant hands. It gives you giant hands that you can punch guys with, and it's like I don't know, it's just fun. It's a very fun game, albeit kind of violent. It's blade and sorcery. You use blades like axes and swords, uh, chop up your enemies, uh, and magic, and like lightning and fire spells that light enemies on fire, shock them, make them drop their weapons. You can shoot like this giant laser beam of lightning. You can use the gravity spell to like push yourself off the ground and kind of hover, or make like a zone where everything that's in it just kind of like floats. It's just a fun game in general. And it's, I think, my favorite VR game that I've ever played. The next game is Titanfall 2, which is possibly the best movement shooter ever. It has a really fun single player campaign with a lot of cool missions. Like there's a time travel one called Effect and Cause, where you just you travel through time. Like each you have like this time travel glove, and you go between the past and the future to try and get around obstacles, and it's just a really cool mission. The campaign also has cool characters like BT-7472, or whatever his numbers are, Jack Cooper, Lastmosa, just all around fun campaign, and fun multiplayer. It's an incredible movement shooter with what you have wall running and double jumps. You can have grappling hooks so you can swing around, and stims so you can run faster and jump farther, and it's just fun. It has a lot of cool weapons, like my favorite is the Cold War, which just fires a burst of grenades that just kind of flop out onto the ground in a short range, but it does a bunch of damage, and it's just fun to use. It's also one of the first two shooters I played. Um, but yeah, it has a special place in my heart, like a lot of these other games, and I just think it's really fun. The next game is Control, which is a great single player game with a lot of fun abilities. You have all kinds of stuff like telekinesis, like picking up most objects or like pulling rocks out of the floor. I think you can shoot like these big pillars and make them drop rocks that you can pick up and then just fling at enemies. You can lift up stuff out of the ground to make a shield around you. You can kind of fly, levitate around a little bit, seize control of enemies, and make them help you. The game also just has an incredible setting and environment. It takes place in the what's it called? The Bureau of, I don't know, whatever. It's just like this bureau that like handles anomalous objects and anomalous events across the U.S. Like all kinds of paranormal stuff, and it like if you've ever heard of SCP, where it's all like these anomalous creatures and objects, it's pretty much that. It's a really fun game to play. The entire vibe of everything is just great. I just really like it. The next game is Ultra Kill, which is just a fantastic movement shooter. It has great weapons and movement, all kinds of weapon combination possibilities that make the game have a really high skill ceiling, a lot of opportunities to go fast too, which is something I love in games. Um, there's fun challenges like the P bosses, P1 and P2, that are just hard. There's a couple fun things, fun things like Arm Boy, which is just a guy with really big arms that just kind of sits around, and if you go up to him, it just looks at you and plays just canned clapping, just a clapping sound effect, like a crowd cheering. But it has fun lore. It has good style. A lot of fun weapons like the SRS cannon. You shoot a cannonball, and then you can shoot the cannonball to make it explode, or you can punch the cannonball to make it go like pierce through enemies. A gun that launches saws that cut enemies in half. It's really fun. The next game is Terraria, which is a great survival multiplayer game. It's 2D. You fight bosses. It's kind of tough. Like there's challenge to it at some points. I just like it a lot because I played it a lot with friends, and I really enjoy playing it and replaying it. Because there's a lot of different weapons you can use and different classes you can do, like Summoner, where you summon little critters to fight for you, or Melee, which is just swords and yo-yos and stuff. But it's a fun game that I still enjoy playing to this day. Next up is Garden Warfare 2, which is a surprisingly solid shooter game for being based off of Plants vs. Zombies, like a mobile game from 2009 or whatever. The world is great. It has a fun map and a lot of cool multiplayer maps and multiplayer modes like Gardens and Graveyards, where you're constantly pushing towards the next point. And then at the end of it, there's like, I don't know, there's like a challenge or a boss or something. But it's like it's again like a team shooter, a team versus team. It's just really fun to play. And there's all kinds of unique variants of each zombie and plant that you can unlock with their unique little quirks, and it's a good time. There's Just Cause 3 is the next game, which is just, it's a fun game that's pretty much just about blowing stuff up and causing destruction. Your main goal is to liberate bases and towns by blowing up stuff. Fuel tanks, radio towers, all kinds of stuff. So you can try and get rid of the evil dictator. Uh, and it's just a fun game to play. You have a wingsuit that you can fly around with, and all kinds of fun weapons and explosives that you could mess around with. And then the final game is called It Steals. This is mostly because of one particular mode in the game called Hide and Seek. It's the only horror game that has made me feel like actual dread and be stressed out in recent memory. It's pretty simple. You're just collecting blue orbs and avoiding the monster. The mode Hide and Seek that I was talking about is kind of interesting to the way I feel like a lot of other games do it, where the monster is hunting you. You're actually the seeker, and the monster is hiding. It blends in with the floor, and you have to try and keep a close eye on what's around you, so you don't run into it and it becomes the seeker. So you have to be careful of what's around you and try and avoid it, and try and get all the orbs. And if you do find it, it'll chase after you, and you can hide from it. And yeah, wait until it hides again, and then get back to it and try not to find it. But yeah, those are my top 10 favorite games that I've played. So yeah, Greeble-Gunk.